Hey guys, it's Michael, and today I'm finally here to do the daunting review of 2666 by Roberto Bolaño. I listened to this on audiobook and it's translated by Natasha Wimmer, and it's narrated by John Lee, Armando Duran, G. Valmont Thomas, Scott Brink, and Grover Gardner. First off, when I was looking at this, I was like, wait, Scott Brink, I've heard him from Helter Skelter. He did a great job on this. And it's fitting because he actually, well, I'll talk about it later in my review, but he did the best section of the whole story essentially. So yes, let me quickly talk about Bolaño. He is a Chilean author. He was born in Chile. He actually died from a liver disease, apparently, from using heroin. Okay, that's what Wikipedia said, so I don't know if that's true or not, so I'm not sure. And I'm really interested to read in his other books. The Savage Detectives, I've heard really great things about it. This review, to me personally, is kind of difficult because this is a book that a lot of people consider, I wouldn't say, well, some consider it a masterpiece, but one of the best books ever written, and trying to review it and putting something new into the pot is kind of difficult because this book is long. This book is long and it's deep. There's a lot going on. I'm gonna do my best, so stick with me here. I read this book for Hispanic Heritage Month. Usually it takes me about 3 days to finish a 15-hour audiobook, so this took me quite a while because this audiobook is 40 hours long, and the physical book wise it's about 900 pages. What I'm gonna do is tell you a little bit about the book and then break it down, and then I'll give you my overall thoughts about it. So got my notes, let's get started. And here comes. So this book was written and published after Bolaño passed away. Actually, he was planning to actually release it in 5 separate books, and that way his family can get money so he can still support them after he passed away. But in the long run, the editor decided to actually just publish the book all in one big set, which I think was a better idea than releasing it in 5 separate books, because once you read the whole thing, it makes sense that one long continuous story it's just more doable than anything. Because if you read these stories separately, it would seem really out of place, like just jumbled up. But together, it's incredible. Now I'm gonna break this down into the 5 separate books. I keep calling them books, but they're actually like parts, but I'm gonna call them books. I'm gonna give you the gist of each book because I don't want to give too much away. Alright, book 1 is called The Part About the Critics, and this one is about 4 critics from different parts of Europe who is really interested in this author called Benno von Archimboldi. They're really knowledgeable about this author, but they don't know a lot about him, as in like what happened to him past a certain point. This must be what like literary professors go through, because that's all they do is just go to conferences, eat, and then just sleep with each other. This is the first book, and it seems really random. Like weird things just randomly happens, and it's kind of off-putting at first because like things you wouldn't think that would be important is just like a throwaway at some point. It becomes really important once you get deeper into the part 3 or book 3 and book 4. It gets really important. The main thing about this book is that it introduces Santa Teresa, which is a really important part of actually all the books. So this is when it gets mentioned, and it's just like a little, oh, let's go to Santa Teresa type of thing. There's not really much like plot going on. It's just more about these characters. It's like really an introduction, and like that's really what it is. So yes, let's go on to the book 2. And then book 2 happens, which is called The Part About Amalfitano. Yes, Amalfitano. And he is a professor, and he's going to the University of Santa Teresa. So you kind of see like book 2, you kind of see the thread starting to be put together, but you don't really see it yet. Because again, this is book 2, random things randomly happen, like you get introduced to his daughter, and I was like, okay. And then this is when it gets really interesting, because there's certain things being said, like, I'll talk about it once in the overall, but certain things are being said, and I was like, that's interesting. Like, you don't really see it as for what it is. It's just like random stuff going on. This is the shortest book out of all 5 of them. It's the shortest, so there's really not much to talk about without giving spoilers away. But also, this is where I was like, something starts happening to Oscar, and I was like, okay, that was weird. And it's important. Like, it's important. So book 3, yes, book 3 is called The Part About Fate. This one is about this guy named, he's called Oscar Fate, but his real name is like Quincy, and he is from New York. So you can really see that this book is like happening worldwide, essentially. I'm gonna call him Oscar Quincy, so I interchange them every once in a while. But anyways, is a journalist, so he gets an assignment to write about a boxing match in Santa Teresa. And when he goes there, he's not really interested in boxing at all. Like, he could care less. He gets interested in these murders happening in Santa Teresa. He requests to be to write an assignment about it, but his editor was like, no, write about the boxing. So there goes that. So he goes to Santa Teresa to cover the boxing match, but things happen, basically. Book 4 is called The Part About the Crimes. This is the best part of the novel. It is incredible. Well, this book, essentially, out of the whole thing, is the meat of the book. Like, this is what this book is about, because it covers a lot of themes, but one of the main things that it covers is about violence, and then especially when you break that down, violence with women. Book 4 is literally, like, when I say literally, it is literally about women in Santa Teresa between 1993 to 1997 who got raped and then who got brutally murdered. Scott Brake, who does this section, because this is the most violent part of the whole thing, and so he literally goes through the whole murders from that section of women and basically describes each one of them. Like, when I say describe each one of them, I literally mean like describe each one of them. He would describe their occupation, how they got murdered, how they got raped. Like, it was really brutal and really intense. Like, this, I was like, whoa. That's the reaction I kept having, especially from Helter Skelter. The way he narrates it, he doesn't have like this emotion into it. He has this monotone, calm voice to his voice, so everything just seems like nonchalant almost. So it's really eerie in that sense. Now, this is the part where it also becomes like a mystery, because you follow a detective and he's trying to solve who is this murderer and who's doing all of this. And the great thing about this is, I'm trying not to give anything away, but you also do get a sense of who the killer is, but then there's some parts where you're really questioning, is it though? Like, is he the killer? The best part about this also, because I have been listening to like non-fiction audiobooks, and since Scott Brink was narrating this, it seemed non-fiction. The way Belaño also writes it, it seemed like this happened for real. Now, I did do like some research on him when I came across him, and he actually became interested in I forgot what town it was, but he actually got interested in this like serial murder in a town, which is basically what this book is based on. It is draining on how much the murders happen, because it's literally murder after murder after murder after murder that's being described. And you kind of seem, as I noticed that as I listened to it more, like in the beginning I was really shocked, but then towards the middle and towards the end it was almost, I was like, oh, okay, like I was almost numb by the violence, which is really scary. Book 5 is called The Part About Alkenboldi. This is basically where he ties up everything. Like, you finally understand what is going on. This part was genius. When I read novels, I try to see like how things are tied up. This part of the novel, I kept going like, like I was completely shocked and amazed by how all of these things that it seemed so unimportant and just random basically starts to weave and connect. It's awesome. It is incredible how he weaved all of this together, and then like from different perspectives. Literally, this part, incredible. That's all you need to know. So yes. Those are the plot points of each book. I hope I did an adequate job of that. It was hard to decide which one was like spoilers and which one was not spoilers. Overall, I recommend this book. Like, I highly recommend it. It is one of the highlights of my reading this year. Definitely 5 out of 5. The book was long, yeah, but at the same time, because it was broken down into these parts, it didn't seem long. I was really excited. And book 4 was the icing on the cake. It was incredible. The thing that I really loved about this was the dialogue. Really interesting because it was also weird. I don't know if this is Bolaño's style because this is the first book that I read by him, but literally he would, like, the plot would be going and it's steadily like progressing and going on, but then there would be this moment where all of a sudden the characters would just stop doing whatever they were doing and just start randomly talking about random things. There was this conversation about stars and I was like, and like constellations. I was like, okay. And then there was this conversation about the F word, which rhymes with maggot, and I was like, okay. The book would just stop and they would just talk about random stuff. In book 4, they would talk about rape. Like, what? Like, and this is the scary part. Like, when they were talking about rape in book 4, it seemed like it wasn't even a big deal. And I was like, what? These interesting dialogues and conversations that happen in each book, it seemed so irrelevant. And even after seeing the whole thing, it was actually irrelevant. Really bizarre. It was just really weird. There are a lot of shocking moments in this, especially, again, I'm gonna keep going back to book 4, but there's a lot of shocking moments in here, especially a character in book 4 would talk about how he would rape someone and like murder them. It was brutal, super brutal. I felt like this plot was really intricate, but at the same time it's not off-putting in the sense that there's a lot going on, but a great part on Bolaño that he can like hold you by the hand and weave you through this really intricate maze of like plot points and characters and events, and I still got it. Like, I still understood it and I still got the main points. And I'm sure that if I like read this again or listened to it again, I would pick up things that I didn't pick up the first time. But let's just be honest, I'm probably not going to do that because it's 40 hours long. Within each book, the style is a little bit different, but it still has this like nuance of similarity. Like, you could tell he's like, this is his writing. But then the downside of that is this book almost felt unfinished. But granted, he finished this before, like, since he passed away, so he didn't have time to like edit it and like do all the refinements for it. Adds this like rawness to it. I don't know what to call it. It's like, it's not a raw emotion, but like a raw draft. It's weird. That makes any sense. This book covers a lot of themes and you can literally like write an essay about it, but one of the main themes that it does cover is violence. And personally for me, what I got from violence was that it's crazy. Like I said in book 4, it's crazy how the violence starts shocking at first, but as you watch and I listen to more, it also becomes numb. And it's kind of like a commentary, I guess, from like what I got anyways. A commentary of how violence in the media, because since this is a murder, obviously they're gonna show it in the media, have this violence of media, you almost really become like numb to it, and how you see all this violence around us and you're not shocked. So yes, that's it. I wanted to keep this video short. I highly recommend this book. It is really a great book. It's incredible. And it's also one of those books where once you finish it, I felt like accomplished. I felt really accomplished. So yes, 5 stars out of 5. Go read it. And the audiobook is amazing. So yes, if you read the book, let me know down below. I'll see you guys till later. Bye!